What's up, guys? Welcome to my Boomsday project set review. My only other set review that I've done is for Kobolds and Catacombs, so I'll try and keep this under 2 hours this time. Well, we'll just jump right into it. Here we go. I'm on Disguised Toast. I think last time I did a set review, I did it on Hearthstone top decks, maybe? I'm pretty sure, but I just like the way he has everything laid out because it goes by class. I don't know, but I'm just going to go class by class and then we'll get into the neutral cards. Here we go. Alright, jumping right into it. Biology project. So like with this set, they're coming out with projects, they call them. And I'm pretty sure there's only 3 classes that are getting the mechs with magnetic, which is Hunter, Paladin, and Warrior. And then I'm pretty sure for the rest of the classes, they have a project. So like for Druid, it's Biology project. Mage, it's Research project. That's magnetic. These guys might have a project. No, never mind. Never mind. Anyways, Biology project. And by the way, I'm going to go through and I'm going to rate each card out of 5 stars. Kind of like Trump did. I know he did this on his Kobolds and Catacombs set review. He did a 5-star rating, and then like 1 star is like shitty, it's never going to be used, and then 5 stars is it's like tier 1. And so I'm just going to do that for each card. Biology project, 1 mana, each player gains 2 mana crystals. So this is like essentially an innervate, but it's for the rest of the game. It's like permanent, and the other player gets 2 as well. So I'm not sure how that's going to do, and to be honest with you, I didn't really play this meta, the Witchwood meta, very much, just because I didn't really like it, so I kind of stopped. Right at the end, I started playing a little bit of Egg Druid, which I don't know, it was not Egg Druid, Egg Hunter, yeah. So you use the 0/5 Devil Soar eggs, and then there's some to 5/5, and then you just like stack the death rattles with fucking stuff like that. But enough about that meta. About this one, all I'm gonna say is I don't really know how much it would change the meta state and everything like that, just because I don't know where it is at right now. But other than that, I'll try and do my best just rating on cards, kind of more like in a vacuum how good they are. So Biology project, honestly, I think this would work. I think it'd be all right. Right off the top of my head, I want to say like 2 stars. Just because I feel like there's going to be a certain deck archetype that has to use it to do something, like ramp, like ridiculous ramp. But then you're also ramping your opponent, so like kind of just accelerates the game into the late game. Yeah, that's all I can really say about that one. Not really meta defining or anything. 3 mana landscaping spells, summon 2/2 tree ants. Yeah, so I think they're going along with some type of tree ant deck. I'm not sure how it's gonna be though, but I know there's that one card that you spend all of your mana crystals and then it summons a full board of, well, depending on how much mana you have, of those, and I'm pretty sure those are tree ants. So like with this card right here, reduces the cost. I think tree ant deck could be pretty good. It could be pretty fucking good. And 3 mana, it's essentially a 3 mana 4/4, but it's split among 2 bodies. That's a decent card, to be honest. I think it's kind of a sleeper because it gets around secrets, a lot of the hunter secrets, like, or anything like you lay down a minion, like a minion from your hand, stuff like that. It avoids that, and like the explosive trap and like mage that aggro mage uses, or not explosive trap, explosive runes that deal 6 damage to it, and then any excess to your hero. I think this does get around that, so it's a spell, and you know. It's obviously buffed by it buffs anything that has to do with spells. I guess I'd rate that card 2.5. Yeah, 2.5 sounds good. On to the next one, Gloop Sprayer, 8 mana 4/4. Holy shit, that's trash. Battlecry, summon a copy of each adjacent minion. Alright, so you play this in between 2 minions, and then it would summon a copy of them on the inside next to this minion, and then push those to the outside, which I guess it doesn't really matter because they're copies anyways. So if you have like a 3/4 that's damaged and it's a 3/3, it's going to summon a 3/3 that is normally a 3/4, but it's damaged, so it's a 3/3. you are definitely getting a lot of stats out of this if you have 2 minions. If you have just 1 minion and you play this next to it, you're only duplicating 1 minion, and you're getting on, let's say on average, there's a 3/3 on board, so you're laying down an 8 mana 7/7. Like, that's not good. I don't know, maybe, but then even on the high end, maybe you have like 2 Deathwings. I don't know how you would do that, but you have 2 Deathwings on the board. Lay that down, bam, that's fucking 2 24 worth of stats. It's 48 worth of stats. That's a lot. So the power creep is nuts on this if you can get it stuff on the board. So this is definitely late game. Like, the 4/4 body is trash, but I think if you sum it, it's kind of like, this is a card that if you play while you're winning, you're gonna keep on winning. You know what I mean? It's not gonna like change anything. So if you're losing, you're definitely might do something. Oh, this helps with taunts too. Yeah. Anyways, out of 5 stars, I'd say 3. It's hard to say something like this. I'd say a 3. On to the Dendrologist, 2 mana 2/3 battlecry. If you control a tree ant, discover a spell. This is so good. This is so good. 2 mana 2/3 body. That's I want to say insane, but insane is like this right here. But onto the 2 mana 2/3 battlecry. If you control a tree ant, discover a spell. So that means if you have a tree ant on board, then you discover a spell, and that means I'm pretty sure you can get a spell from any other class, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, I'm pretty sure you can. So you can get, let's say you get a, lay that down, then you get a Pyroblast. Or you can get a swipe from Druid. Like, that's just nuts. That's so good, dude. And it's discovered, so you get to choose what you want. That's really good. I'd say out of 5 stars, that's a 4. That's a really good card. And this goes along with the Treant deck. That would help with really good synergy. Onto the Mulch Muncher, 10 mana 8/8, which is not very good. Rush, that's insane. Costs 1 less for each friendly Treant that died this game. So it goes along with the Giants, and this goes along with the Treant deck. So I was trying to figure out earlier how this would work out, but let's say turn 1 you play Biology Project, you get the 2 mana crystals. Turn 2 you play Landscaping, so you get 2 Treant. This is just if you're purely going for Treants, and then somehow I'd say on average you're gonna play low end 5 Treants. If you're running the Treant deck, you're gonna play 5 Treants by turn 10. High end, I'd say like 10 Treants, especially if you use that one card that summons a full board. You're definitely gonna get that much Treants. So this is essentially, if you have good synergy, a 0 mana 8/8 with Rush. That's so nuts. Low end, this is a 5 mana 8/8 with Rush. Like, that's still so good. I think this is like the I want to say win condition, but I think it's just a really good to slap a body down and then just take care of a big ass minion or anything like that on the board. But this goes along with the Treants really well. Out of 5, 3.5. I just talked it up a lot, and then I said 3.5. I'd say, honestly, with the Treant deck and everything, I'd say 4. I'd say 4. That's like a staple for the Treant deck. 6 mana 3/4 Tending Tauren. Choose 1, give your other minions +1/+1, or summon 2 2/2 Treants. This also busts the Treant deck, so it's essentially the Landscaping, but you're paying 3 more mana for a 3/4 body. Give your other minions +1/+1. So this could also be a buff if you have stuff on board. This is just really good, and that's what Druid's always been good about. Is choose 1. So like it's situational. Every card is like situational for those, and that's so good. But not much to say about this one. It's pretty self-explanatory. Out of 5, I give it a 3. That's also going to be a staple for the Treant deck. On the next one, Juicy Psych Melon. 4 mana spell. It's an epic. Draw a 7, 8, 9, and 10 cost minion from your deck. Jesus. I was trying to think of synergies that this goes with. Obviously UI. I think that might... No, there isn't anything getting rotated out, I don't think. But that you draw like a UI, you draw... Oh, it's a minion. Okay. Alright. So yeah, so just purely off of these cards, you draw like this Florist, the Gloops player, the Mulch Muncher, stuff like that. But obviously if you're running... This would go along with... OTK spell druid. You could draw your Mally with this, your Malygos. I don't know, this card goes along with, I feel like there's it's hard to rate a card like this just because I can't think of any like synergies at the top of my head that you could do this with, but it's probably like, this is turn 4, you play it, you get some, say like you're running spell druid, this is your way of search, so you get your Malygos, but it's for 4 mana, so I don't think it's very good if you're just searching for the Malygos. But then again, if you're running a deck that has a 7, 8, 9, and 10 cost minion, you're drawing 4 cards from your deck for 4 mana, like, and the ones that you want, because you can specifically put 1 7 mana card, 1 8 mana card, 1 9 mana, and 1 10 mana card in your deck, so you know what you're drawing. Out of 5, I'd say this is a 3, but it might be like a 5. Like, who knows? This could be like a meta-defining card. It's hard to tell at this point, though. On the next, did I rate that? Yeah. Yeah, I was like, oh, did I rate it with stars? I don't know. On to the next one, 7 mana Dream Petal Florist, 7 mana 4/4. At the end of your turn, reduce the cost of a random minion in your hand by 7. This is pretty fucking good. This is better body. Well, it's the same body as this 8 mana Gloop Sprayer, but it's for 1 less mana. And at the end of your turn, reduce the cost of a random minion in your hand by 7. Even if it's random, like, that essentially putting a minion in your hand down to 0. Unless you have like a Mulch Muncher or like a card that costs more than 10 mana. I don't think those even fucking exist. But yeah, you reduce that down to like 3. Like, especially if you get this out, if this triggers 2 turns, the value is just nuts. The value is nuts. It's definitely worth 7 mana if you can get 2 off, and especially if you copy it with like the Gloop Sprayer. Oh, if you have like 2 of these on the board and then copy it, your whole hand just 0 mana. Other than the spells, obviously, but if it just triggers once and you don't copy it and then somebody kills it, I'd say you get your value worth, because you by playing this, your opponent has to respect that. They can't disrespect this card, otherwise the power creep is just insane. So like, they have to kill it. It's a 4/4. It's they'd use like either one removal card or the minions on their board to kill it, but 4/4 body's decent, but definitely not for 7 mana. But then again, you're reducing the cost of, like, this would be 0 mana, this would be 1 mana, this would be 3 mana. Like, it's so nuts. That's so nuts. Out of 5, I'd say this is a 3, 3.5. I feel like I'm being generous with the stars, but whatever. On to the next one, Flubberninus Floop, however the fuck you say that. 4 mana 3/4. While this is in your hand, this is a 3/4 copy of the last minion you played. This is so nuts. This card is literally insane. Why? Because, like, look at cards like this, Dream Petal Florist. If I played this and then I play this guy, another thing in my hand is becoming 0 mana. Like, holy shit. And especially if you have like this, it's a copy of the last minion you played. So like, it's a copy of this, so Battle Cry will trigger, like, because it's in your hand and then it switches to whatever is the last minion that you played, and you get to control what it is because you get to play a minion, and then it goes over a turn too. So like, let's say I play Tending Tower and then I pass my next turn, and I could wait like 3 turns and I could have this in my hand. But as long as the last minion I played is like Tending Tower, I could wait 3 turns and then play Flubberninus Throop and then also use that Choose One. Like, that's so nuts. But it's a 3/4 copy, so like, let's say it's a Mulch Muncher, it's just going to be a 3/4 rush. But it's still nuts. Like, especially if you play this, I can't think of anything right now, but there's other Druid cards or even neutral cards that you could play at. Let's say like Malygos. You play Malygos, and then you play Flubberninus Throop. It's a 3/4 spell damage +5. That's so nuts. That's so nuts. Out of 5, I'd say this is a 5. To be honest, I think this is just a nuts card. Like, so much value. Going on, 1 mana legendary spell for Druid. Whenever a minion dies this turn, gain 1 mana crystal this turn only. This was really hard for me to even think about how this is good. For being a legendary, I don't think it's very good, to be honest. Right now I can't think of anything that what makes this insane. So let's break it down a little bit. It's a 1 mana spell. You play this at the beginning of your turn. You have an average of, like, say 3 minions on the board. So if they have minions on their side of the board, you play this, you swing 3 minions in, you essentially gain 2 mana. If all your minions die. So you're trading your minions in just for two extra mana? I don't really get that. Even if you have a full board of 7, they're not gonna have bigger minions so you can swing into. Like, I guess this is a card you could play if you're behind in curve and you have a smaller board, but it's wide. You could just swing small shit in, I guess. Oh, actually, I guess this would go along with the tree ants. Okay, maybe, yeah, maybe, because you have that one card that has, like, summons all of them, and then Death Rattle gives you mana crystals back. So you do want to swing those in. So I guess you could play this. If you have a bunch of small minions, this works. This is what you would play it with. And so you play this at the beginning of your turn, then you swing a bunch of small minions in, and then you can play a card, or you play a card and then swing your small minions in, and then you'd gain, on average, most 7 mana. It's alright. Out of 5, I'd say like 2.5. It's just, it might be, and this is another thing, like the Juicy Psych Melon. This might be like a 5 mana card. This might be just nuts, but who knows. Moving on to the Hunter cards. So Hunter is my favorite class, if you guys didn't know that. It always has been since the beginning of the time. One of my favorite decks was the mid-range Hunter in like GVG days. But then Blackrock came out and then it kind of started to dip off, and then Hunter was just bad for like 5 expansions, which really sucked because I was like 50 to 100 games away from getting my Hunter gold, and then he was just literally trash. So like, I mean, I could play Hunter and then win like 1 out of 3 games, but it's just not fun, to be honest. Like, who wants to play a deck or a class that's literally trash? Like, even if I want to gold it, it's like, it's just not fun to play. So I've been waiting for Hunter to be really good, and honestly, this might be a good expansion for Hunter. Why? Because they deal with the 0/2 Goblin Bombs, which are these right here. It's a 1 mana 0/2 Death Rattle, deal 2 damage to the enemy hero. It's a mech. And you have a bunch of cards in Hunter class that deal with this shit, and then it's also a mech, so you can play some magnetic stuff on top of that. So, why Hunter has been good in the past is because sticky minions. I think I heard I don't know where I heard that, but sticky minions, which meaning they have Death Rattle. It's hard to get them off the board. They stick on the board. So, like, in a vacuum, one of the best cards in Hearthstone is the Savannah Highmane. It's one of my favorite cards. It's a 6 mana 6/5, and Death Rattle summon 2/2 hyenas. Like, that's so good in a vacuum, and it's sticky because you have to. It's decent. It has a really good, decent body, so you have to use removal to get rid of it. And then once you get rid of it, it puts 2/2s onto the board. So in some cases, like Mage, you just want to freeze it because you don't want to kill it. Instead, you're spending too much removal to try and get them off the board. You know what I mean? I'm spending 6 mana, and then you're spending possibly more than mana than you need to remove that one minion and then get rid of the ones that it summons. So this is why I think Hunter might be good this expansion. Even though these 0/2s don't seem like much, it's essentially just I was thinking it could be comparable to oh, why am I having a brain fart? Leper Gnome. It's a one. I think they changed it. It used to be a 1 mana 2/1, but they changed it to a 1 mana 1/1. Death Rattle, deal 2 damage to the enemy hero. And if you guys remember, which expansion was that? I think it was a Frozen Throne. Or no. Ungoro? I'm not sure, but it came out with I'm not sure expansion it was, but it was the Unearthed Raptor. It was a 3 mana 3/4 in the Rogue class that Battlecry copy the Death Rattle of a friendly minion. So there was like an OTK type deck that used those, and you literally just copied Leper Gnomes, and then you would you'd keep playing the Unearthed Raptor on each other, and you'd like use like something to like copy him and shit. And you just copy the Death Rattles, and you just stack it, and then you'd kill your own Unearthed Raptor, and then it would deal like fucking 40 damage to your opponent. That's kind of what I see Hunter being like, but not as much of like an OTK. It's going to be like more of like a mid-range control type Hunter, which utilizes these 0/2 mechs that deal damage to. That's how you're going to deal damage to the enemy. That's why I think it's going to be good. So I talked a lot about like the Hunter, so I'll try and fly through the cards here. Bomb Toss. It's a 2 mana spell, deal 2 damage, summon a 0/2 Goblin Bomb. I mean, it's for 2 mana, deal 2 damage is not good. It's just like the Hunter card. Forgot what it is. I think it's Arcane Shot, 1 mana, deal 2 damage, and nobody really plays that. But I mean, it summons a 0/2 Goblin Bomb, so that's a way to get Goblin Bombs onto the field, and then you can use Magnetic to slap them onto those Goblin Bombs. So out of 5, I'd say 2 or 1. I would say 1, but with the synergy with all the rest of the magnetic and mechs and hunter class, I'd say this is like a 2.5. On to the next one. 1 mana, Secret Plan, Discover a Secret. This is actually pretty fucking good. So this is your way of just getting extra secrets or getting a secret that you want or need. But it's 1 mana, which is nuts. So this replaces. I feel like hunters always had that like 1 to 3 mana slot where it's like you only put the hyena, the 2 mana 2/2 hyena, and then it's like the rest is like, what do I put in there? But this kind of replaces Hunter's Mark. I know people have run a Hunter's Mark, and I'm pretty sure it got nerfed, so now it's 2 mana. It used to be 1 mana, or no, it used to be 0 mana, and now it's 1 mana. But anyways, I feel like people put Hunter's Mark in there, but whenever I put Hunter's Mark in there, I don't feel like I feel like there could be something better that I could be putting in there, but I can't find anything. But this would replace that, I think. Or you can stack it on top of and also have a Hunter's Mark. But Secret Plan is just pretty good in my eyes, so I'd say this is like a 3.5 out of 5. Venomizer, moving on. 2 mana 2/2 is decent. Magnetic and Poisonous, mech. So this is actually nuts. I remember I was watching Kriparian's video about mechs, and then he was saying I think it was a warrior. No, it's a common. I'll show you guys. There's this one common mech that it deals damage to like everybody at the end of the turn. Where is it? It deals 1 damage to right here. 6 mana 4/4 mech magnetic. At the end of your turn, deal 1 damage to all other characters. So if you stack this with the Hunter Poisonous, it will kill everything on the board. Like, that's so nuts. And for the other one, 6, that's 8 mana board clear that kills everything. But with these other Hunter cards and without looking at any of the other mechs, this is still pretty fucking good. It's a 2 mana 2/2. So if you lay it down, it's a 2 mana 2/2 Poisonous. That's decent, I guess. But then if you slap it onto like a Goblin Bomb, that's a 2 mana 2/4 with Poisonous. That's so good. And especially if never mind. I was going to say it deals damage, but no, Poisonous doesn't go to heroes. Out of 5, I'd say 2.5. Moving on, 3 mana 2/2. Magnetic Death Rattle will destroy a random enemy minion, Spider Bomb. So 3 mana 2/2 is not good at all, but it has the Magnetic Death Rattle destroy a random enemy minion. So again, you can just slap this onto like a Goblin Bomb, and then if somehow you kill your own Goblin Bomb or they kill it, it destroys one of their minions, and I think that's pretty good. So it's kind of like the 3 mana random shot, I think it's called, and it destroys a random enemy minion. But you're gonna have 2 of these in your deck, so especially if you slap that on, and then if you have other stuff like this one that your Death Rattle trigger twice and stuff stacks, and you can like maybe bring back your Death Rattle people and stuff like that. You can just, this is another way of removing and shit, especially if they have like an 8/8 on the board. Oh, that'd be huge. But then even if they have like a 1/1, it's still decent, and you're only spending a 0/2 to get rid of it. So out of 5, I'd say this is a 2. Because even in this magnetic deck, I could see this card not going in it. I don't know. Moving on, 2 mana Cybertech Chip. It's a 2 mana spell. Give your minions Death Rattle, add a random mech to your hand. This is way too slow in my eyes. I kind of cringe every time I see every single like expansion Blizzard comes out with a Hunter card that does this. They just add Death Rattles to your minions, and then it adds random cards to your hand. So you might just get trash cards put into your hand, and then you have to play those. So it's like, why would I play this card just so I get value of a random card 2 turns later down the road? Like, it's just, why do you keep adding these into the game? I'd rate it 1 star. It's just, I don't get why. This is why Hunter is consistently trash. Moving on, 2 mana 2/2. Fireworks Attack, Battle Cry. Give a friendly mech +1/+1 if it has a Death Rattle, trigger it. So this obviously goes along with the Death Rattles, and kind of like what I was going to say earlier was I started running right at the end of this expansion. It was like 2 days ago, right at the end of this meta. I started running Egg Hunter, and there's cards that it utilizes, like the 3 mana, I forgot what it's called, but it's a 3 mana 3/3 guy that triggers a friendly minion's Death Rattle. And then you also have that 1 mana spell that triggers your friendly minion's Death Rattle. So that will obviously, this whole expansion is just buffing Egg Hunter. It's so nuts. But this card especially is nuts because you buff, let's say like a Goblin Bomb, you're buffing it, and then you're also triggering its Death Rattle. So you can just chain them. So you can just chain their Death Rattles, especially as if it has like this. You can just chain. It's so nuts. But you can put 2 of those in your deck too. That's really good. Out of 5, I'd rate this 3.5, maybe 4. Moving on, 5 mana, 3/6 Necromechanic. Your Death Rattles trigger twice. This is just like I forgot his name, but it's in it was way back in Nux Ramus. It was a legendary. It was a 7. What was it? A 7? I think it was a 6 mana 1/7. Your Death Rattles triggered twice, and that was a legendary. So this is an epic. It was decent, I guess. Maybe a little over decent, and especially in a deck like this card is so nuts. Like, your opponent has to respect this card. If they disrespect this card, then you trigger your own Goblin Bombs, trigger your Spider Bombs, stuff like that, and it just boom, 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 deals each Goblin Bomb deals 4 damage to the enemy, and just boom, 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 and you start to stack and rifle it off. And even the body, it's a 5 mana 3/6. Like, that's a decent body. It's way better than the 1/7 from Nux Ramus, but this is definitely a staple that's going into the Egg Hunter Goblin Bomb mech deck. Moving on to, did I rate that? No, I didn't. 5 stars. I'd rate it 4. Yeah, I'd rate it 4 stars. 2 mana spell, Goblin Praying. Give a friendly minion +3/+3 and rush. It dies at the end of the turn. I can see this being good. Even just if you have if you slap down a minion and even if it doesn't have Death Rattle, even if it's like the Fireworks tech, you can slap that down, and then you got a 2 mana or a 4 mana. You would spend 4 mana in total for a 5/4, and it has rush, so you can just run it into another thing, and then it dies. But even if you do high end, really good, you can slap this on like a Goblin Bomb, for example, and it would be a 3 mana or a 4 mana 3/5, or however much the Goblin Bombs are. I don't know. But even if you just have a Goblin Bomb on board, you boom, and then you got a 3/5. But it dies at the end of turn, and then the Death Rattle would trigger. And especially if you stack them somehow, and even if you like have a magnetic stuff like the Spider Bomb that goes on there, then it triggers. It dies at the end of turns, which isn't really that bad because it has Death Rattle. So out of 5, 3, maybe 2.5. I don't know. Moving on, Boommaster Flark, the legendary minion for Hunter, the 7 mana 5/5 Battle Cry. Summon 4/02 Goblin Bombs. This is really good for the Goblin Bomb deck. This, I guess, could be comparable to Dr. Boom, but it's way worse stats. 7 mana 5/5 is way worse than a 7 mana 7/7. But you're summoning 4. So when you slap it down, it summons 2 on either side of him. And even then, if you have a card, I don't know if it's in the meta anymore. I think it rotated out, but there was a 2 mana card that triggered all of your friendly Death Rattles. That would be nuts if you play this, because then it's 2, 4, 6, 8 damage. Boom. But that's really good, especially if you the synergy with all of the other Hunter cards. Essentially, I want to say it's every card in Hunter synergizes with that, except for like Secret Plan. With every card in here synergizes together, maybe except for Boomzooka. But out of 5, I'd say this is a 4.5, maybe a 4. I don't want. It's not like meta defining or anything. It just has really good synergy with the rest of like Egg Hunter. Moving on, the legendary spell for Hunter. It's an 8 mana spell. Summon 3 minions from your deck. They attack enemy minions, then die. It's Flark's Boomzooka. I see this. I think there's like a Recruit Hunter that's not very good, but this kind of goes good with it. I'm not impressed, to be honest. I like the flavor though. On the picture, it's a Stampeding Kodo, which gives all your friendly minions rush. But it's strapped to like a rocket and it's shooting off. So I just think that I like the flavor of that picture there. But summon 3 minions from your deck. They attack enemy minions, then die. So let's say it obviously wouldn't work in a deck like this, but if you're running like Recruit Hunter, low end, you're gonna summon. I don't even know what you run in Recruit Hunter. Let's say like a 4/4. So you summon a 4/4 and then it attacks an enemy minion and then dies. It might not even kill the enemy minion, and then it's dying, and it's summoning from your deck. So they summon and then they die. So like you can't play those minions and you can't draw them anymore. But the high end, let's say I get like a King Crush. I summon an 8/8 and then it attacks, and it's essentially an 8 mana. Hopefully I kill the enemy, and it's enemy minions. You can't attack face. Yeah, and they die at the end of the turn too, so it's not like you can summon them and then they swing and then you can like swing with them like next turn. Like I don't see it being very good. Out of 5, I'd say this is like 2.5, maybe a 3. And then those are the Goblin Bombs. I'll rate that down later in the I'm pretty sure it's a common card that you actually get to play, but I'll just rate it later. Moving on to Mage. 4 mana, 4/3, elemental, spell damage +2, cosmic anomaly. Spell damage minions haven't been good in the past. I think the only one that's ever been like played is Blood Mage Thanatos. That's because it has a death rattle and it's only 2 mana and it's a 1/1. Like that's a really good card. But spell damage 2 and it's like on a 4 mana 4/3. I don't really see this being played. And like the spell damage hasn't really been good in the past. Like I said, you can't really stack it because you're spending all your money, all your mana to put spell damage minions onto the board, and then you don't have any mana for spells, and then your opponent just removes them. So out of 5, I'd say that's like a 1.5, maybe a 2. Moving on, 1 mana spell, Shooting Star, deal 1 damage to the enemy and to deal 1 damage to a minion and to the minions next to it. This is a cool little spell. I don't see it being very good. I'd rate it like 2 stars. Moving on. 2 mana research project. Each player draws 2 cards. So this is the project for a mage. It's 2 mana. Each player draws 2 cards. That's pretty good. So like you're drawing 2 cards, but then also your opponent's drawing 2 cards. This would be good. Mage doesn't run a mill deck, but if your opponent has like a full hand, you play this. They mill 2 cards. They mull 2 cards. I can see this being pretty good, to be honest. I don't know about projects, so it's too hard. There's never ever really been any. There's been a couple actually, cards like that give you and your opponent like a mana crystal. I think there's a druid card that did that, but I don't know. It wasn't really like playable, so I could see this maybe being played. I'd rate it like 2.5 stars. Moving on, Celestial Emissary. Elemental, 2 mana, 2/1. Battlecry, your next spell this turn has spell damage +2. So this is a little different than the other spell damage ones, like Cosmic Anomaly, because the minion doesn't have spell damage. It's Battlecry, your next spell this turn has spell damage. So let's say you play this, and then you wait a turn, and then you play a spell next turn. It doesn't have spell damage because it's this turn. So you'd play like this before you play like a Fireball. So then your Fireball would deal 8 damage. I don't know, it's decent, I guess. You can't really play it early game because it's just a 2 mana 2/1, but then late game you're spending 2 mana just to give one of your spells +2 spell damage, and it's your next spell. It's not like for this turn your spells have spell damage. It's your next spell that you play has. So I don't know, it's decent, I guess. 2.5, I'd rate it. Out of 5. Moving on, 6 mana 3/3, horrible stats. Meteorologist, Battlecry, for each card in your hand, deal 1 damage to a random enemy. So with this expansion, they're doing a little bit of hand power with Mage, like this one right here. You want to get your hand like as big as it can, and then that buffs the cards. So like, let's say you have 10 cards in your hand, including this. You play it, you're dealing 9 damage randomly on the board, which is really good. But for a 3/3, it's and that's really situational, because even if you have, say like an average of, you play this with a 5-card hand, you're only dealing 4 damage randomly, and then you just 6 mana 3/3, you just end your turn. So maybe you kill something on the board if it's small, and then deal like 1 damage to face, then you just have a 3/3. It's not very good. I'd rate it like 1.5 stars. I don't see this being played unless you like played in that deck with the big hand, and even then I don't see that deck being very good. 2 mana spell. Moving on, Astral Rift. Add 2 random minions to your hand. This is kind of like Summoning Portal, except you don't reduce the cost, so it's significantly worse, but you're getting 2 random minions. But randomness effects haven't been very good in the past. On average, you're not going to get a very good card. But even if you get insane cards, for 2 mana, I don't really see it being played at all, so I'd rate this like 1.5 stars. Moving on, 4 mana spell, Unexpected Results. Summon 2 random 2-cost minions, improved by spell damage. So I'm pretty sure this means if you have spell damage +2, you summon 4 2-cost minions. I think. And then if you have like spell damage +1, then you have 3 2-cost minions. So let's say you just play this without any spell damage. It's a 4 mana, summon 2 randoms. So again, like I said with the Astral Rift, it's not very good. But even if you do have, let's say, spell damage +1, you're 4 mana, 3 2 mana minions. That's decent. But then let's say like high end, maybe you just go all out with spell damage. You have like spell damage +5 for some reason. You just fill your board with random 2-cost minions for 4 mana. That's pretty good. I don't really see this being played very much, so I'd say 3 stars out of 5. That sounds about right. Moving on, 7 mana Astromancer, 7 mana 5/5. Battlecry, summon a random minion with a cost equal to the number of cards in your hand. This goes along with the Meteorologist, where Mage has a lot of cards in hand, and then you play this and it gets buffed by how many cards you have. This expansion has been introducing a lot of cards that have high cost, low stats, which are kind of bad, but it's kind of been like a reoccurring thing in the past 3 classes that I've been rating. But that's because their effects are so strong. So let's say this is kind of comparable to, you guys know what I'm talking about. This meta was the one that got nerfed. It went from 6 mana to 7 mana. It's like this summoner or something. But it was at the end of your turn. It would summon. I think it would summon a random minion with, or no, it was a battle cry of a cost of a spell in your deck. So you'd play that with like a Power Blast in your deck, and then it would summon like a fucking Deathwing or some shit. But this is comparable, I guess, to that. But let's say you have max 9. You can have, so it's a max cap of a 9-cost minion. And then let's say you have 5 cards in your hand, including this. You play it, you get a 4-cost minion. That's decent. Because it's a 7 mana 5/5. You're essentially, let's say you got 4, right? You're summoning a 4/4. So you're just a 7 mana 9/9. So on average, this is an above decent statted card. Out of 5, I'd say 3. Yeah, that sounds about right. Moving on to the legendary minion and mage, Stargazer Luna, 3 mana 2/4. After you play the rightmost card in your hand, draw a card. This is so nuts with aggro mage because you play her, which is 3 mana. Let's say you still have like 4 mana left, and then you just, after you play the rightmost card in your hand, draw a card. So then you like say, let's Sorcerer's Apprentice. You reduce the cost of your cards, and then you play the rightmost card in your hand, which is 0 mana Arcane Missile. You play that for 0 mana, you draw. Then you get another Arcane Missile. You play that, you draw. You get another Sorcerer's Apprentice. You play that, and then you just keep like on a really good curve and really good synergy. You're just gonna keep slapping out spells and just boom, 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 keep going. You're just gonna never end. So this is really a really good card. I'd rate this honestly 5 stars. I would rate this 5 stars. This is so good. It's like meta defining. That's basically turning aggro mage into like a top tier 1 deck right there. With just the draw power is nuts. Even with a 2/4 body and it's 3 mana, it's so good. So and your opponent has to respect that too. They have to get rid of a 2/4 on board. Otherwise, you can just keep doing what you were doing. Moving on, 7 mana. It's the legendary spell for mage. It's the Luna's Pocket Galaxy. I love the picture. I love the card art on this, by the way. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of Card Monsters, but it's a card game that I used to play on Armor Games. And there's a rock they would use. You would have to buy gems to upgrade your cards. You'd actually get to upgrade your cards and then play them in a deck. So this looks like the most expensive one. It's so cool to me. I just love that. I love this fucking card. It's probably one of my favorite cards in the set, just because of the card art. But Luna's Pocket Galaxy, and that name is so cool. Change the cost of minions in your deck to 1. So talking about the card itself, actually, 7 mana. You're going to play this late game, really late game. So you play this, you reduce the cost of minions in your deck to 1. This is really good. So and then you get like a 0 mana Astromancer, 0 mana Meteorologist, and any minion or a 1 mana, I mean. Any minion in your deck, you're just getting 1 mana minion. And then especially if you get like Stargazer Luna, you play that after, you can just keep rapid firing out just minions that cost 1 and spells that are low cost. Like, oh, it's so good. And it synergizes with a lot of shit. I'd say out of 5, this is a 4. It's so cool. It's one of my favorite cards in the set, if not my favorite. Moving on to Paladin, which is the one of the 3 classes in this expansion that get magnetic mechs. They're getting a new secret, 1 mana auto defense matrix. Secret, when one of your minions is attacked, give it divine shield. So this the card art is like so perfect with this card because it literally is like the embodiment of what I picture this happening when this like happens, and like if you would play this card against other minions. This is actually really good. This keeps if one of your minions is attacked, this literally keeps them from being killed because they get divine shield. Nothing can kill it. Even if it is a poisonous minion, they attack, your minion gets divine shield, blocks it. The poison just doesn't affect. So this is actually a nuts card. But this is only if your opponent's trying to remove your minions with other minions. So this doesn't help for like, let's say like card remove spells and stuff like that and effects of other cards. This is only if they're attacked. But this is actually really good. So it's kind of like a get down, but yeah, it's essentially just a get down, to be honest. Except no. Well, yeah, it is, because the minion that they're swinging with is still gonna get hurt by the attack of your minion. So this is actually really good. Moving on to the out of 5, actually, I'd say this is a 3.5. Moving on to the Glowtron, 1 mana mech. It's a 1/3 with magnetic. So you're essentially just buffing anything up by 3 health and 1 attack. But 1 mana 1/3s on their own have been so nuts, because you look at the mole, the dire mole, I think it's called. It's just a vanilla 1/3, but it's a beast. But mech synergizes better than beast does because of all the stuff being introduced to this set. So it's a 1 mana 1/3 mech, and then you can, after that, put other shit onto that mech. Like, it's so good. This is so good. If you're running like a magnetic Paladin, this is going in there. So I'd say this is out of 5, 3.5, maybe 4. Moving on, it's a 5 mana 0/5 Mechano Egg, whatever you want to say it. Death Rattle, summon an 8/8 Robosaur. So I could see this being slapped onto like big ass minions, and this goes along with Kangor's Endless Army, which I'll get to that later. But I could see you putting it doesn't have magnetic, by the way, so you have to get this onto the field and then put other magnetic stuff onto it. You can't magnetic this onto an already existing mech on the field. But it's 5 mana, which is pretty bad. But it's a 0/5, so it, like say let's say you put a Glowtron onto the Mechano Egg. It's a 6 mana. I can't math. It's a 6 mana 1, 5, 8. So it's a 6 mana 1/8. It's not very good, but it has a Death Rattle 8/8. Summon an 8/8, so the Death Rattle is where you're getting your value from. But I think it's just too slow. 5 mana for an 8/8, but it's way down the line because you have to stack stuff onto it and it has to die. And it's hard to rate a card like this. Eggs have been power crept in the past though, but for Paladin, well, it does get buffs, I guess. But you're not going to be running very much buffs in a like Blessing of Kings. You're not going to be running much of them in a deck like the Magnetic Mech Paladin. I'd rate it 2.5 maybe. Moving on. Yay! Jesus, I can't believe they keep putting these in the game. It's a 4 mana 2/4 Anoia module, so it goes along with the Anoiatron. They put one in the past. I think it was in Old Gods. It was Psychotron, which is just a bigger version of the Anoiatron. I think it was like a 4 mana 3/4. But this has Magnetic, Divine Shield, and Taunt. So you slap this onto like a Glowtron, you're going to get 3 mana, 5 mana, 3/7. But it has Taunt and Divine Shield. It's decent, I guess. The Psychotron wasn't, like, Annoyotron was really good, and then Psychotron was, like, not very good. But this has Magnetic, so who knows? This could be actually just nuts to keep buffing your fucking minions. So out of 5, I'd say 2. Moving on, Crystology. It's a 2 mana spell. Draw 2 1-attack minis from your deck. It's not very good. It's not. I shouldn't say it's bad, but I shouldn't say it's really good either. I mean, it's decent. It's just you're searching for 2 1-attack minis from your deck, so you'd get like 2 Glowtrons for 2 mana. It's like, okay, it's a search card. Out of 5, I'd say 2. Moving on, 5 mana Shrink Ray spell. Set the attack and health of all minions to 1. So it's like an equality and a humility. If you just put into 1, but it's for all minions. So you'd also do it for your minions. I don't really see a reason that you'd play this other than if you're behind in board state, and then you play this to get ahead. So I'd say out of 5, 1.5. Moving on, 4 mana spell, Prismatic Lens. It's an epic card. I really like this card. Draw a minion and a spell from your deck, swap their cost. So let's say you have a deck. I was thinking this too. If you design like a whole deck around this, let's say you fill your deck with one like low end minions. So you have like 1 mana 1/1s, you know, like the Argent Squire and like other 1-attack minions like a Leopard Gnome, shit like that. You just fill your deck with those, and then you fill your deck with spells that are high cost. So you put like Lay on Hands and like what are other high costing spells for Paladin. You know, you just put those in there. And then you play like Prismatic Lens, so you draw like a Lay on Hands and an Argent Squire. So the Argent Squire would obviously get nerfed to fuck because it'd be an 8 mana 1/1 of Divine Shield. That's trash. You're like probably never gonna play it. But then you would get a 1 mana whatever. What even is Lay on Hands? I don't really play Paladin. 1 mana. I think it's draw 3 cards with store 8 health. That's so nuts. That's so nuts. The power creep is so nuts on that. But I like the flavor. I don't see it being very good. But who knows? You can make it work. It's hard to raid cards like this and figure out how they are going to be in the meta because you don't really know. You know what I mean? I don't know what it synergizes with on top of my head other than like the Lay on Hands or the Squire type thing. So I'd say out of 5, this is like a 3. It could be a 5 though. You know, it's one of those cards. Moving on. 6 mana 3/4, horrible stats. That's a recurring thing. Glowstone Technician, Battlecry, give all minions in your hand +2/+2. So the hand buff Paladin in the past was trash. I don't see this being very good unless you're playing. Well, let's say I'm playing Magnetic Mech Paladin. A 6 mana, give all of everything in my hand +2/+2. So you know, like raiding cards like this, and especially people that did in the past. When Mean Streets came out with introducing the hand buffs, people thought it would be like good, even above good. But then they came out and it was just way too slow. Kind of like the Hunter thing, where you give your minions Death Rattle and then you add something to your hand, and then you play it. It's just too slow. So like even if you give all your minions +2/+2, which is pretty good, you're spending 6 mana to do it. So it's like not very good. 5 mana, or not 5 mana. I'd say out of 5 stars, this is a 1, maybe a 1.5. Moving on to the legendary spell for Paladin, Kangor's Endless Army. It's 7 mana. Resurrect 3 friendly mechs. They keep any mechanic upgrades. So let's say you have a big ass minion. You have like a Mechano Egg. You put a Glowtron on there. You put a Noyo module on there, and it got buffed by Glowstone. That's like, I can't maths right now, but it's a lot. It's a big ass, pretty decent minion with all that shit on there. And then you play a Kangor's Endless Army at the end of the game, so you have that, and say throughout the whole match you had 2 other big ass fucking mechs that you put on. So you play Kangor's Endless Army after all of them die. Boom, boom, boom. 3 ass big ass minions with taunt, insane stats. They have like Wind Fury, all these effects. Like that's really good for 7 mana. Like this is kind of like Enzoth and stuff like that, where you just like play this and then resummon like all this dope shit. But you only resurrect 3. But for 7 mana, worth it. This defines a deck. So I'd say out of 5, I'd say like 4. This is literally defining a deck archetype all by itself. And you only get one, by the way, because it's a legendary. Moving on, out of 5, did I rate it? Yeah, 4, I think I said. Moving on, the 2-mana 1/2, it's a legendary for Paladin. Crystal Smith Kangor, Divine Shield, Lifesteal, your healing is doubled. Your healing is doubled. On its own, you play this as a 2-mana 1/2, it's Divine Shield. And then they like swing something into it. You play this early game, right, on turn 2. They swing into it, you like gain 1 health, you know, it's alright, it's decent. But it doesn't have taunt or anything. The way I see this being played is if you play like, this doesn't really exist right now, but like an aggro Paladin, and you're just running, spending all your mana to place down charge minions, buff them, weapons, swing and face, all this, but you're also going to take hella damage because you're not playing any fucking control and shit like that. So I could see this being played as just like a 2-mana, your healing is doubled spell. And then you play it, and then you play like the 2-mana restore 6 health. You just play that, restore 24 health if you have 2 of those, and then I can see it's being played like that. So you like aggro, then you play this, and then you just heal. That's what I see it being played as. So out of 5, I'd say this is like a 3, maybe a 2. I don't know. Moving on to the Priest. We got the 2-mana 2/1. I have no idea what Priest is like, by the way. I haven't really looked at these cards. Dead Ringer, 2-mana 2/1 mech, Death Rattle, dry Death Rattle minion from your deck. It just goes along with the Death Rattle stuff. Again, there's not much to say about this card. Rated 2 out of 5. Moving on, the Cloning Device. Discover a copy of your minion in your opponent's deck. It's 2 mana. There's 2 things that you get out of this. You get a card, but for 2 mana, you're getting a... Well, it's not random because you're discovering, but you also get to see 3 cards in your opponent's deck. So you get to know, if you don't know if they're playing Aggro Hunter or Egg Hunter, you play this, you see that there's a Devil Sword Egg, you know that they're playing Egg Hunter, so then you know what to do around turn 3 or 4. You want to get rid of that as fast as you can. So this is good just for kind of like spying on your opponent's deck. But other than that, you're discovering a copy of a minion in your opponent's deck. So you're basically discovering a card that's going to be pretty decent. That's been decent in the past. So I'd say out of 5, I'd say this is a 2.5. Moving on, Topsy Turvy. It's a 0-mana spell. Swap a minion's attack and health. I could see this be played. If you really want to, you could run it in a deck kind of like I don't know if you guys remember Djinn Priest, but you play Djinns and then you just play like buff spells on your other minion. Let's say like a Doomsayer, and then you would play a card kind of like Topsy Turvy and swap their attack and health, and then the Djinn would just have nuts attack, and then you just push face and shit like that. But I see Topsy Turvy being played like that. Djinn Priest isn't in rotation anymore, but I could see it being played something like that. But this also nerfs egg. So this is a 0-mana spell that kills an egg. You know what I'm saying? Stuff like that. Out of 5, I'd say 2. Sounds about right. Moving on. Omega Medic, 3-mana 3/4 battle cry. If you have 10 mana crystals, restore 10 health to your hero. So this is goes along with the other Omega cards, which are not 10 mana cards, but their battle cries are if you have 10 mana crystals, then it does something. So let's say you play this early game. It's a 3-mana 3/4. That's it. The vanilla stats. 3-mana 3/4 is alright. It's kind of like a spider tank. Yeah, that's what spider tank was, I'm pretty sure. 3-mana 3/4. But then let's say you play this on turn 10. You get a 3-mana 3/4, and then you restore 10 health to your hero. That's nuts battle cry for a 3-mana. So that's... I can see Omega's being power crept. Out of 5, I'd say 3. I'm trying not to think too hard about the stars, but I'm trying to get like a good rating. Moving on, 3-mana spell. Extra arms. Give your minion +2/+2. Add more arms to your hand. That gives +2/+2. So let's see if they have... No, I thought you'd have the more arms card, but I don't know if more arms is like a 0-mana spell or a 1-mana spell, or if it's just 3-mana, kind of like extra arms. But let's say you play extra arms, which is 3 mana. You give a minion +2/+2. Then you get more arms, which is also 3 mana, and then you give a minion +2/+2. It's not very good. Buff in Priest hasn't been very good, other than the forgot what card it was. It was a spell. It was 3 mana, give a minion +3/+4 and spell damage +1, I think. Something like that. But that was like the only buff that Priest ever ran. But then let's say you get extra arms, play it for 3 mana, then you get more arms and it's 0 mana. I could still see this card just being decent. So it's a 3 mana, give a minion +4/+4. That's even if it is 0 mana. So I don't see this card being very good. I'd rate it like 1 star out of 5. I think that's the first 1 star. Moving on, I've been being very generous. 1 mana minion, 1 mana 0/2, Death Rattle, return any spells you cast on this minion to your hand. So this is just like the Primordial Murloc, I think. Something like that. It was a Murloc introduced in Ungoro, and it was for the Paladin. It was a 1 mana 1/2 with Death Rattle, return any spells you cast on this minion to your hand. But that's in Buff Paladin, and Buff Paladin is like the Paladin is known for being like the buff class. So even in a deck that you run like extra arms and shit and in Priest, it's not very good. So I don't see this being very good. I'd say 1 out of 5. Moving on, 5 mana 4/6, Reckless Experimenter, Death Rattle, minions you play cost 3 less but die at the end of the turn. So this is, I can see Priest is going along with the Death Rattle more. I've seen 1, 2, 3 Death Rattle cards now that have done this. They're not very good though. Like nothing in this class I don't think is very meta defining. This expansion, they didn't really buff Priest very much this expansion. But back to this Reckless Experimenter. This is kind of like the Hunter card that reduced the Death Rattle minions you had, which wasn't very good. It was like the same stats, around the same cost. So I'd say 1, maybe 2 out of 5. Power Word Replicate. So we get another Power Word. Cool. But it's 5 mana, which is not very good. Choose your friendly minion, summon a 5/5 copy of it. Not very good at all. So that's even if you have like a test subject that has like extra arms on it. You spend 5 mana and summon a 5/5 test subject. Death Rattle gives you an extra arms in your hand. Oh, and it'll also give you a Power Word Replicate. I didn't even think of that. Yeah, it would. So you would get extra arms and another Power Word Replicate. So you could essentially just stack it on a test subject, and keep repeating that. But out of 5, 2, maybe 3. Moving on, a 9 mana spell, Xeric's Cloning Gallery. It's the legendary spell for this class. Summon a 1/1 copy of each minion in your deck. This is kind of like Herald Village, which was a legendary minion. I can't remember which expansion it was. I think it was Old Gods. But it summoned 1/1 copies of all other minions on all other friendly minions on your board, which nobody figured out how to get it to work. It was very bad, to be honest. Nobody figured out any archetypes that it worked in, stuff like that. But it's also of each minion in your deck. So it's a spell that you play at. It's a better Herald Village. So let's say you're running. You'd obviously run around Death Rattle minions. Let's say, I don't know, what's a really good Death Rattle minion? Like eggs. I don't know. I can't think of anything right now, but or like a high expensive Death Rattle minion. So you play this, you summon 1/1 copies, you fill your board, by the way, if you have 7 or more Death Rattles in your deck by the time you play this, which would be very late game. It's turn 9. It's still decent. I don't know. I just see this. Maybe it's meta defining. I don't know, but I'd rate it 2, maybe 3. But who knows? This might be meta defining, like I said. Moving on, 6 mana legendary for Priest. Xeric Master Cloner. 6 mana 5/5 Death Rattle. If you've cast any spells on this minion, resummon it. So this is kind of like the test subject and the Power Word Replicate thing, where you keep playing spells on it, and then it would just keep resummoning. So it's a 5/5 that just keeps coming back and back and back and back and back. But I don't know, it's pretty cool. Legendary, I'd say 4 out of 5. It's just a good in a vacuum. Moving on to Rogue. I have no idea what Rogue is going to be like this expansion either. Lab Recruiter, 2 mana, 3/2, Battlecry, shuffle 3 copies of a friendly minion into your deck. So this is like the gang up from Goblins versus Gnomes, I think. But it was a 2 mana spell, shuffle 3 copies of a friendly minion into your deck. That was good in the past, so you used it in like Mill Rogue and shit. So it'll be exciting to see what this card does. It maybe might bring back Mill Rogue. Out of 5, this is a 3. I just know this could be like a staple for a deck that you need to put in a deck that uses a lot of shit that you need to copy. Yeah, so 3 out of 5. Moving on, 5 mana 4/4 combo. Give a friendly minion +4 attack. Crazy Alchemist. This is like Cold Blood. This is exactly Cold Blood, but it's a 5 mana 4/4. Not very good. I'd see it being like a 2 out of 5. Moving on, 3 mana spell, Violet Haze. Add 2 random death row cards to your hand. I'm trying to speed up a little bit here because I don't want it to be like a 2-hour set review like I did the last time. This goes along with Death Rattle in the past. Rogue has been decent with Death Rattles. I think the best deck that I can think of with Death Rattles is the Unearthed Raptor deck that I was talking about earlier. But I don't see this being very good at all. For 3 mana, you're getting 2 random Death Rattle cards. And like I said before, randomness isn't very good in Hearthstone. So it's very slow too. You're spending 3 mana to get 2 random cards put in your hand. It's just 1 out of 5. I don't see that being very good. Moving on, 4 mana 2/4, which is not very good. It's a mech though. Death Rattle, summon a 1/1 ooze with Poisonous and Rush. That's pretty cool, I guess. So you're getting if they have a minion on board, you're just going to kill it unless it has like Divine Shield. But it's a 4 mana 2/4, not very good. But even if you play, you can't play Magnetic because I think there's Magnetic neutral cards. I'm not sure. Not very good. I'd say like 2 maybe out of 5. Moving on, Pogo Hopper. It's a 2 mana 1/1 mech. Battlecry, gain +2/+2 for each other Pogo Hopper you play this game. The flavor of this card is really cool. So let's say a very high end, a good synergy, run a perfect game with Pogo Hoppers. You run Lab Recruiter, you shuffle copies of them, you summon copies of them, stuff like that. You get each Pogo Hopper is going to have +2/+2 again. So you play like a 2 mana 1/1, and then you get a 2 mana 3/3, and then 2 mana 5/5. You can get up to like a 2 mana fucking 10/10, I think, or 11/11 because it'd be odd. It's decent, I guess. I can't see this being like something that's actually run in like a fucking good deck that goes to like top tier decks in the meta. So I'd say 2 out of 5, but it's a fun kind of like meme card. Moving on, 3 mana 3/2, Necrium Blade. Death Rattle, trigger the Death Rattle of a random friendly minion. So this is like going along with the Death Rattles. Like, let's say you have a bright nozzle crawler, and you run the Necrium Blade. You summon a 1/1 ooze with Poisonous and Rush. It's decent, but it's a 3 mana 3/2, which those have been good in the past. That is just a Fiery War Axe. Oh, it's a Death Rattle too, and it's random friendly minions. So this is actually worse than I thought. I'd say 2 out of 5. Moving on, Academic Espionage. 4 mana spell. Shuffle 10 cards from your opponent's class into your deck. They cost 1. So this goes along with this 5 mana Myra's Unstable Element card down here, but I'll talk about that later. This is like you're running low. You're running like Mill Rogue. Actually, this is 2 cards now that run with Mill Rogue, and even this one. So maybe they're trying to bring back Mill Rogue. I think Mill Rogue might be a thing after this, but you're late game. You're down to like maybe 5 or less cards, or like 10 or less cards. You play Academic Espionage, boom, you got 10 cards in your deck. That's so good. But then they are random, but they cost 1. Holy shit. So let's say you're playing against a mage. You get 2 Pyroblasts. They cost 1. That's so nuts. Actually, this is a really good card. This is 4 out of 5, I'd say. This is really good for Milrogue. Moving on, 5 mana Necrium Vial. This is a spell. Trigger a friendly minion's death rattle twice. But this is pretty good, but it's 5 mana. Not very good for 5 mana. I don't see not much value in this. Even if you're running purely death rattle deck, Necrium Vial's 5 mana. That's not very good at all. So I'd say out of 5, 2, maybe. Moving on. The legendary spell for Rogue. 5 mana spell. Myra's Unstable Element. Draw the rest of your deck. That's actually nuts. This is you play this turn 5, you're milling all your deck. Like, that's not very good. But then if you play this and then play Academic Espionage, even if you just play 2 of them, you're just refilling your deck back up. So if you're running Milrogue, this is like, I don't know, this is hard. This is really hard to rate. I'd say even if you're running Milrogue, which is the only thing you would like run this in, this would be like a 3.5 out of 5. So I just say that. Moving on. 5 mana 4/2 Myra's Rotspring. Myra Rotspring. This is the legendary minion for Rogue. The stats are horrible. Like, this has been a recurring thing this expansion. Battlecry. Discover a Death Rattle minion. Also gain its Death Rattle. So you're getting a Death Rattle card, and then you're also putting the Death Rattle onto Myra. So let's say you discover Savannah Highmane. It's a 5 mana 4/2 Death Rattle summon 2 2/2s, and then you're also getting a Savannah Highmane. In a vacuum, this is a really good card, so I'd say 3 out of 5. But there has like not much synergy with the rest, I guess. Shaman cards. 2 mana 2/2 Elemental. Battlecry. Add a random elemental to your hand. Not much to say about this card. I'd say like 2 out of 5. Moving on, Beaker Lightning. 0 mana spell. Deal 1 damage to all minions. Overload 2. So you're playing this. You're overloading 2. Not good at all. Just for 1 mana, you're just pinging every minion on the field. So I'd say 1 out of 5. Elementary Reaction. 2 mana spell. Draw a card. Copy it if you played an elemental last turn. This is hard to rate because if you run like Elemental Shaman, the spells you're running in there are basically just removal. So you're just getting another removal spell, like another Hex or something. That's if you played an Elemental last turn, but it's only 2 mana, but you're getting a spell. Or you draw cards, so you're getting draw out of it. And you're copying. Oh, I thought it was copy a spell. So draw a card, copy it if you played an elemental last turn. So you can actually copy, like, let's say you have Electrostorm Shards in there. You're copying another Electrostorm Shards. So you're getting 2 of them. That's actually pretty nuts. So I'd say 3 out of 5. Moving on, Eureka, 6 mana spell. Summon a copy of a random minion from your hand. This is kind of like that one spell that summoned a minion from your hand, but it also summoned for the opponent. But for 6 mana, you better be having and it's random, so you don't get to like choose. So let's say you have high end, you got a fucking Alakir the Windlord in your hand. For 6 mana, you're summoning Alakir the Windlord, and it's a copy. So you can make this would be good in like a recruit deck, but recruit shaman isn't really a thing. So I'd say 2.5 out of 5. Voltaic Burst. 1 mana spell. Summon 2 1/1 sparks with Rush. Overload 1. 1/1s with Rush are not very good. You're going to use this early game. Maybe kill something. If they played something. And then you're just overloading. So next turn you just have 1 mana anyways. I'd say out of 5. And this is really bad late game. Out of 5, I'd say 1. Moving on, 4 mana 3/4 Storm Chaser. Battlecry. Draw a spell from your deck that costs 5 or more, and this is an elemental. So they're trying to bring back Elemental Shaman a little bit, but this card itself, 4 mana 3/4 stats are like below average for 4 mana. So you're playing this, and then you're drawing like a Stormbringer. So this is essentially just a search card that has like vanilla stats. So in a certain deck archetype, this is going to be included in there because it's a search card. So out of 5, I'd say 2.5. 4 mana 3/5 elemental, Thunderhead. After you play a card with Overload, summon 2 1/1 Sparks with Rush. So this is, they're going along with, they like to summon the 1/1 Sparks with Rush thing. I think there's a couple neutral cards that do that too, but this is an epic. 4 mana 3/5. It's better than that Storm Chaser, but 4 mana 3/5. That's pretty good stats for 4 mana. Plus it's an elemental, so then you also need to be running Overload cards. So I don't know how good the 1/1 Sparks with Rush thing is, but this stacked is actually nuts. So let's say you play Thunderhead, you have this on board, then you play a Beaker Lightning, ping everything, and then you summon 2 Sparks with 1/1 with Rush, and then you play like Voltaic Burst, summon 2/2 from the Voltaic Burst, and then the Thunderhead also summons 2 more. So you're getting 6 things, but you're overloading 4. So I don't know how good the 1/1 Sparks with Rush thing is, but Thunderhead is a really good staple for if you're trying to run that. So I'd say 3 out of 5. Omega Mind, this is another Omega card. 2 mana 2/3, really good stats for 2 mana. Battlecry, if you have 10 mana crystals, your spells have lifesteal this turn. Huh. So the reason that Beaker Lightning is a thing is because of this card, I'm pretty sure. So you're going to run this, say you're on turn 10. You play that, and then you play like Beaker Lightning, other like spells, and they have to be burn spells because they have to deal damage, and then you're getting lifesteal. But there was something like this in the past that was your spells have lifesteal, but it was like a 5 mana 3/6 or something, like 4/6 or something like that, and it wasn't really played at all. So I'd say for this card, and this is occasional, it's only if you have 10 mana, I'd say 3 out of 5, but I can see it being decent. Moving on to the legendary minion for Shaman. 3 mana 3/3 Electric Storm Surge. Battlecry, your next spell this turn cast twice. This is really hard to rate. I'd say out of 5. This is a 3 out of 5 minimum, but this could be power crept if you have like a, let's say like the Stormbringer, which for the Stormbringer wouldn't be very good, but if you're running like Burn, this is actually really good in Burn. So if you play this, and it's this turn, so all your spells this turn cast twice. So you play this, and then you get like the Lava Burst, so you're dealing 3 mana, 10 damage, goosh, and then 3 mana, 10 damage, goosh. So that you get this. This might be good in like an aggro Shaman, Burn Shaman, something like that. Out of 5, 4. Moving on to this spell for Shaman, legendary spell, 7 mana, the Stormbringer. Transform your minions into random legendary minions. I think Disguised Toast did a video on this because he played it when he went to one of the opening pack early expansion thingies. But I didn't watch the video. But I think this I like the card. I like the card a lot. Transforming into legendary minions is really cool. But for purely like how good it is, I'd say 3 out of 5. Because low end, let's say you get trash legendaries, you get 7 Nat Paggles, even if you have 7 minions on the board. Let's say you have 2 minions on the board, and then you get 2 Nat Paggles. It's not for, or 2 Nat the Darkfishers. But then high end, let's say you have 7 minions on board, and then you play this, and then you get 7 King Crushes. That's really good. So I don't know. Let's meet in between. It's decent. I'd say 4 out of 5. Alright, 2 classes left, and we're going to neutral. We got Warlock. 2 mana spell, Demonic Project. So this is another project card. Each player transforms a random minion in their hand into a demon. I don't see this being very good. Why would this help you? This is more of like a nerfing your opponent project type card, which is actually I like the flavor of that card a lot. But it's been a card like this, like where you curse your opponent. I can't remember which expansion did that, but you or it was It was an adventure. It was League of Explorers. It was a 2-mana spell, and you would give your opponent, you put a card in your opponent's hand, and then each turn it was in their hand, at the start of their turn, they would take 2 damage. So then they had to spend 2 mana to get rid of it, which was good flavor, but it wasn't very good, like, card itself. So I'd say 1 out of 5 for the Demonic Project. Moving on, the Doubling Imp, 3 mana 2/2, horrible stats for 3 mana. Battlecry, summon a copy of this minion, so you're getting a 3 mana 4/4 spread across 2 bodies. And even if you buff this somehow, or like this Soul Infusion that I just looked at, you're getting a 3 mana 8/8. So this could be power crept, I guess, but you're definitely going to run this if you're running like a hand buff Warlock, which I've never really heard of, but I don't know, it's decent, I guess. So I'd say 2.5 out of 5. Spirit Bomb, 2 mana spell, deal 4 damage to a minion and your hero. So this is kind of like the what was it called? It was a bomb in GVG. It was a 2 mana deal 3 damage, but you could also do phase. So this is kind of like the spells in the past that have dealt damage purely to minions haven't been very good. So even if there's like this was a 2 mana deal 4 damage to a minion, it was like, this would be decent, but then you're also taking 4 damage, so it's not very good. Like, obviously Warlock cards synergize with your hero taking damage, but out of 5 I'd say this is like a 1. And this is awkward because it has 2 mana too. Like 2 mana deal 4 damage, it's just like awkward numbers. Moving on, 2 mana 2/2, Death Rattle, give all demons in your hand +1/+1. So this is more, there's also a card that, I don't know if it's in here anymore, but it's a 5 mana 5/4, give demons in your hand +1/+1. Or no, on the board. So you play it, and then it gives your minions, your demons on the board +1/+1. So this is kind of like that, but it's a Death Rattle. So you play this turn 2. This is actually a really good turn 2 card. This is actually really nuts, because if you have like a Doubling Imp and stuff like that, you play this on turn 2, and you play all the power crap, dude. Holy shit! I'd say this is 4.5 out of 5. Void Analyst is actually nuts. Moving on, Nether Soul Buster, 3 mana 1/5 demon. Battlecry, gain 1 attack for each damage your hero has taken this turn. So let's say you on turn 5 you soul tap, or you life tap, and then you play Nether Soul. You're getting a 3 mana 3/5. And then let's say you take even more damage than that. You play like 2 Kobold Librarians, and then you play this, you're getting a 3 mana 5/5. This could be decent. This is decent, I guess. I'd say like 2.5 out of 5. I don't see it being very like a nuts card though. 1 mana spell, Soul Infusion, give the leftmost minion in your hand +2/+2. So it's really hard to control where the leftmost minion in your hand is, because if you want to play Soul Infusion on your Doubling Imp, and your Doubling Imp is like the 3rd card in, you're going to have to play 2 cards to then play Soul Infusion to then buff the leftmost card in your hand. So, but it's 1 mana, so it's decent, I guess. I don't really see it being played. Yeah, I just don't really see it being played, so I say 2 out of 5. Another Omega card, 5 mana 4/5, which is actually better stats than the past ones, I think. Battlecry, if you 10 mana crystals, summon 2 copies of this minion. So it's a 5 mana 8/10. That's pretty good. Out of 5, I'd say 3. Moving on, Ectomancy, 6 mana, summon copies of all demons you control. This is actually nuts if you have big ass demons on board, but let's say you have average ones like the Nether Soul Buster, and it's like a 3/5. You're just gonna get 1 more 3/5, and then like another 2/2 for your Doubling Imp, or 3/3 or whatever. But for 6 mana, you're definitely getting your value. So I'd say this is a 4 out of 5. It's a 4 out of 5, but it's probably one of the worst 4 out of 5s, if you get what I mean. It's not like too good, but it's not bad. Moving on to the legendary spell in Warlock, 1 mana, draw 3 cards at the end of your turn, discard them. So let's say you play this, and then you at most play like 2 of those cards. then you just discard the last one. But this also gets buffed because of, you know, stuff that gets buffed by discarding in Warlock. So this is actually a nuts legendary. This could, and it's only 1 mana, so this is actually really fucking good. I'd say 4, maybe 5 out of 5. No, I'd say 4 out of 5. Yeah, 4 out of 5. Actually, I'm gonna go back to the Ecnomancy. I'm gonna say 3 out of 5 as being way too generous with that card. Moving on to Dr. Morgan, the legendary minion for Warlock. 8 mana, 5/5 Death Rattle. Swap this with a minion from your deck. There's been kind of effects like this in the past, and they've been decent. But this is actually pretty nuts because this is like 2 cards in the past. So there's a Madame Goya, which is Battle Cry. Swap this with a minion in your deck after you like play it, I think. So then, but that was like people never really played that. But then there's also the Malorn, which was a druid card that Death Rattle. Return this to your deck instead of the dying. So this is Dr. Morgan, but it swaps with a minion from your deck. So let's see, you play this turn 8. It's a 5/5. It dies, goes back into your deck so you can play it later, and then you also pulls like another Soul Buster out of your deck. Like, that's actually pretty nuts. So you're never gonna. Well, actually, you are gonna burn. You are gonna. I was gonna say you're never gonna run into fatigue because of this, but if you have no minions in your deck, then this just dies. So I'd say 4 out of 5. That's pretty cool. Moving on to the third class that has magnetic mechs in this expansion, that's Warrior. 1 mana, 1/3 mech, which is nuts in the past. Whenever this minion takes damage, gain 2 armor and some mech. So this is actually such a fucking insane card. Right off the bat, I'm going to rate it 4 out of 5, but this doesn't have magnetic. So let's say, well, it doesn't really need to, though, you know what I mean? Because you play this turn 1, and then you can slap magnetic things onto this, and then it gets even more nuts. But if you draw this late game, you can't magnetize this onto one of your minions, one of your mechs, because it doesn't have magnetic. You have to play this and then put your magnetic cards onto it. But this is a 4 out of 5. It's so nuts. So nuts. And even if it's just wasn't even a mech, it's a 1 mana, 1/3. Whenever this minion takes damage, gain 2 armor. This is like an armor smith, but better. It's so nuts. 4 out of 5. Maybe even a 5 out of 5. Moving on to the 2 mana spell, Weapons Project. Each player equips a 2/3 weapon and gains 6 armor. So this is like another project. It's weird though, they didn't give Priest or Rogue a project, but they gave Warrior a project and magnetic minions. And they gave Warrior Dr. Boom. It's actually nuts. They just buffed the shit out of Warlock this expansion. But back to this project, each player equips a 2/3 weapon and 6 armor. I don't know, it's so hard to rate projects. I have no idea how they're going to do, but let's say this is a 2 mana card that only gives you this. So 2 mana, gain a 2/3 weapon and 6 armor. This is really, I shouldn't say really good, this would honestly just be decent. But then your opponent's also getting a 2/3 weapon and 6 armor, so I don't see this being very good. 2 out of 5. Rocket Boots, 2 mana spell, giving a minion rush, draw a card. This is kind of hard to rate too, because let's say you play Eternium Rover, and then you give it Rocket Boots. So it's a 1/3 rush, and you'd also draw a card. Draw a card for 2 mana isn't very good, but you give a minion rush. Rush hasn't been very good in the past either, so I'd say this is like a 2 out of 5. Omega Assembly, this is an Omega card. Oh, they also gave this class an Omega card, dude, Jesus. Oh my god. Anyways, it's a 1 mana Omega spell. Discover a mech. If you have 10 mana crystals, keep all 3 cards. That card is literally fucking insane. Oh my god, Warrior's gonna have like 3 tier 1 decks. Holy shit. You're gonna have a recruit warrior, mech warrior. Oh, this is gonna be fucking nuts. And this Taunt Warrior is probably still gonna be a thing too, I don't know. But that card is straight up just, I want to say 5 out of 5, but I'm just going to say 4.5 out of 5. Omega said, holy shit. Moving on, 6 mana, 2/5, which is horrible, shitty ass stats for 6 mana. Absolutely trash. Security Rover. Whenever this minion takes damage, summon a 2/3 mech with taunt. This doesn't have magnetic, so you have to slap magnetic cards onto this. Actually, you're only getting one class magnetic thing, which is the Beryllium Nullifier. But the Security Rover, if you slap things onto this is actually pretty good, I guess. Because whenever it takes damage, then it's gonna summon a 2/3 mech with taunt. So, even if it just takes damage once, you're getting a 6 mana 4/8 with taunt. Sort of, if you get what I mean. So, I don't know, this is decent. 3 out of 5. Moving on, Dynamatic, 5 mana 3/4 mech. Battlecry, deal 5 damage, randomly split among all minions except mechs. So you're going to run this in a deck that you only run mechs in, and then you're just going to deal 5 damage, randomly split among all enemies. This isn't very good, I don't think. No, so I'm going to say 2 out of 5. Moving on to Beryllium Nullifier, 7 mana 3/8. Weird stats, but okay. Magnetic, can't be targeted by spells or hero powers. Absolutely nuts effect. So you slap this onto like an Eternium Rover. That's a 4 mana, or 8 mana, 4/11. Can't be targeted by spells or hero powers, and whenever this minion takes damage, gain 2 armor. So Beryllium Nullifier is just a buff, I guess. I guess you could look at this as a spell that gives a minion can't be targeted by health spells or hero powers and +3 attack and +8 health. But then you can also play it just as a 7 mana 3 that can't be targeted. So I'd say 3 out of 5. Moving on, Super Collider, the weapon. It's a 5 mana 1/3, which is not very good at all. But after you attack a minion, force it to attack one of its neighbors. So I'm pretty sure that means that it only attacks other minions on their side of the board. You can't make one of their minions attack their face. I think that's how it works, because in the past they have a rogue secret that made one of their minions attack one of its neighbors. So I think there's been a card kind of like this in the past, cards where they attack and then also attack ones adjacent to it, which have been not very good. But I really love the flavor. This is one of my favorite cards in this set, but I don't really see it played in like competitively at all, so I'd say 1 out of 5. Moving on to Dr. Boom, the legendary minion for Rogue. Warrior. Don't tell me why. Don't ask me why they made Dr. Boom class specific. Kind of like last expansion where they made Helga the Witch class specific to Shaman. Don't fucking ask me that. But here we go. 7 mana hero, which gives you 7 armor instead of 5, like the other heroes. Battlecry, for the rest of your game. For the rest of the game, your mechs have rush. So you're gonna play like magnetic shit on this, and your mechs are gonna have rush anyways. So I don't really see a reason for playing Rocket Boots if you're just gonna run Dr. Boom, because your shit's gonna have rush anyways. But let's see what his hero powers do. So I'm pretty sure there's a video about it. But you played Dr. Boom, and then let's say you get Blast Shield. You use it, gain 7 armor, swaps each turn. So at the end of your turn, your hero power is going to change into one of these randomly. So, which are just absolutely nuts. Let's rate them individually here. Blast Shield, 2 mana, gain 7 armor. Absolutely, just literally fucking insane. Why is that even a thing? 2 mana, discover a mech. Really fucking good. 2 mana, do 1 damage to all enemies. Decent, I guess. Zap Cannon, 2 mana, deal 3 damage. That's pretty good. 2 mana, summon 3 1/1 microbots. So that's decent, I guess. But these first 2 are absolutely fucking nuts. So Dr. Boom Mad Genius, 5 out of 5. Absolutely fucking, just absolutely nuts card. I don't know why the fuck they didn't make that neutral, though. Just, I don't get it. And then, moving on to the legendary spell for Warrior, the Boom Ship. 9 mana, summon 3 random minions from your hand. Give them rush. So this is kind of like the 9 mana, was it? The Hunter, oh, it's 8 mana, this Kaboom Stick, or whatever. So this is 9 mana. Let's say you have this guy and this guy and this guy in there. You play this, and then they have Rush, and then you can just attack into shit. But if you're playing Mad Genius, Dr. Boom, you already have him. They're going to have Rush anyways. So I don't see why you would ever play this. This is kind of like, you know, TK, I guess. Well, actually, if you run charge minions, charge overlaps the Rush, so you can attack face. So if you're running like Rush minions and you play this, you can summon 3 Rush minions and then attack face. But honestly, I don't see this one being... This is probably one of the worst legendary spells out of all of them. So I'd say 3 out of 5. Going on to the common neutral cards. Here to start off the legendaries. Zilliax, 5 mana, 3/2, absolutely trash. Magnetic, Divine Shield, Taunt, Lifesteal, Rush. This is nuts if you're playing any kind of magnetic deck, so you'd run this in there, obviously. So you'd slap this on, like, say, like let's say it's a 1/1 mech. It's a 1 mana, 1/1 mech. So it's a 6 mana, 4/3 with Divine Shield, Taunt, Lifesteal, and Rush. So you're going to run it into another minion. It's going to lose its Divine Shield. You're going to gain 4 health. And then you're just going to have a 4/3 Taunt with Lifesteal. Not very good, to be honest. I don't really see this. You might run this in a magnetic mech deck, maybe. So I'd say 3 out of 5. 2 out of 5. 2 out of 5, yeah, sounds good. Alright, Whizbang the Wonderful. Very weird card in this set. It's a 4 mana 4/5. You start the game with one of Whizbang's wonderful decks. So this is kind of for beginning players, they said. So if you get a pre-order of the Boomsday, you get a legendary golden. Sorry if that was loud and I ear-raped you. So Blizzard said, I can't remember who said it, but they said this is for like beginners. So let's say you get Whizbang the Wonderful as your golden legendary, if you're a beginning player. This is kind of like cards in the past, like the one's last expansion. That if you have like only odd cards deck in your deck, then it like upgrades your hero power or like reduces it. Those two, or I can never think of card names, but I can describe what I'm talking about. Prince Malishazar, that's who it was. He at the start of the game added 5 legendaries to your deck. So this is kind of like that. It's not like a battle cry where you play him and then it goes into effect. It's at the start of the game. So if you put Whizbang in your deck, doesn't matter what you're doing. Pretty sure it's class specific for each of the 9 classes. So let's say you're running Warrior. You put Whizbang in there. At the start of the game, it's going to boom and turn your deck into whatever deck it is that Blizzard had set for Warrior, which I'm pretty sure is like if you go into Hearthstone, you create a new deck, and then they have the deck recipes right there. I'm pretty sure it's the one for the Boomsday, but don't quote me on that. So this is just for beginning players. I like the flavor though, and Matt Dixon actually made the card art for this card, I know. And shout out to Matt Dixon. He's one of my favorite artists, and he makes some of the card art for Hearthstone. I have a couple of his art books right over here signed by him. Thanks, Matt. Moving on. Oh, out of 5. Power wise, competitive wise, this is not very good at all. So I'd say 1 out of 5 competitive wise, but I like the flavor, so I'm just gonna give it a 2 out of 5. Moving on, Mecha Cthulhu. Wow, 10 mana, 10/10 mech. Death Rattle. If you have no cards in your deck, hand, and battlefield, destroy the enemy hero. I was trying to think of how you do this. I said to my friend, I was like, you play Mecha Cthulhu and then you play Deathwing. But even then, you're still gonna have cards in your deck, and then if you play Deathwing, you have a minion on the board, and then it kills Mecha Cthulhu, and then his Death Rattle triggers. So even if you had no cards in your deck, you play Deathwing while you have Mecha Cthulhu on board, it kills Mecha Cthulhu, and then his Death Rattle triggers, and it would destroy the enemy hero because you have Deathwing on the board. You need to have nobody on the battlefield. So I could see this being run in like with the rogue card that draws your whole deck, because then that takes care of your deck, which is probably going to be one of the hardest things to do. But then this needs to be the last card in your hand. So you're just going to play your hand and then play Mecha Cthulhu after everything on the board has died. So this is kind of hard to do, I guess, but maybe I could see Rogue pulling some shit off. I could see it happening. Or maybe like a Warlock where he just discards his fucking hand and shit. Something like that. I'd say I like the flavor, and the 10-10 is really cool. So I'd say, or actually you can, another thing on this, you could just play this as like a 10-10. And then, well, actually, I was going to say your opponent is going to be afraid to kill it because they don't want to trigger its death rattle, but they're going to see if you have minions on your board, hand, or deck. And even then, they might try and hurry up and try and kill it even more. So I don't know. That's not very good unless you're running it. I don't see why you would play this card. So I'd say 4 out of 5. This is like more of like an OTK type deck, kind of like Azari. 5 mana, 4/4, subject 9, battlecry. Draw 5 different secrets from your deck. This is actually nuts. So you'd run this and say like a hunter, mage, paladin, rogue. But you're just searching for 5. But you're drawing actually. So like this in the past, there's that mage, glacial mysteries, which is an 8 mana, and then you just put a copy of each one of, or not a copy. You just put one of these spells, one of each spell from your deck onto the battlefield. But it would actually like pull them out of your deck and put them on. It wasn't very good either. But you're actually drawing these, so then you have to play the secrets after. But you're getting a 4/4 body out of it, which is also a beast. So I'd say a 3 out of 5. And you're searching for 5 different. I don't know, it's alright. Moving on, the Harbinger Celestia. 4 mana, 5/6. Actually fucking nuts stats. And it has stealth. That's so nuts. After your opponent plays a minion, become a copy of it. So this card is trashed here, to be honest. Because you play this, your opponent is going to play the smallest minion in their hand. Which, best case scenario is like a 3/4. So you're getting a 4 mana 3/4. And then even if they have like a 1 mana card, they're just going to play it in Argent Squire, and then you're going to have a 4 mana 1/1 with stealth. Actually trashed here. Because if you're trying to be sneaky and play this, let's see if they slap down a King Crush and then attack my face because I'm going to get a King Crush. They're not going to do that because they can see that it's a Harbinger Celestia. They're just not going to play a good card. You know what I mean? Trash tier. 1 out of 5. Neutral epic cards. Oh yeah, it goes by rarity. So we're almost done here. Omega Defender, Taunt. Why is this not a mech? Okay, it's another Omega card though. 4 mana, 2/6, Taunt, Battlecry. If you have 10 mana crystals, gain 10 attack. So turn 10 you play 4 mana, 12/6. Actually pretty fucking nuts. And it has Taunt. But other than that, it's just a 4 mana, 2/6 with Taunt. So actually it's still pretty decent. So I'd say 3 out of 5. Moving on to the Weaponized Pinata, Matt Dixon, shout out. 4 mana, 4/3. It's alright. Death Rattle, add a random legendary minion to your hand. I don't see this being played competitively, but I like the flavor, so 2 out of 5. Star Aligner, 7 mana, 7/7 Battlecry. If you control 3 minions with 7 health, deal 7 damage to all enemies. This isn't 7 damage randomly split. This is 7 damage to that minion, that minion, and your fucking face. So minions with 7 health. I don't know exactly which ones of those are, but pretty sure it counts for itself. You just need to have 2 minions with 7 health, and then play the Star Aligner, and then it would go. So I'd say 4 out of 5, because this could be run in like a deck that tries to run 7 health shit. I don't know. Augmented Alec, 3 mana, 3/4, decent stats. Whenever you shuffle a card into a deck, shuffle an extra copy. This is really weird and hard to rate, but I'm gonna go 3 out of 5. EMP Operative, 5 mana, 3/3, Battlecry, destroy a mech. Really weird in this expansion because people are going to be running magnetic decks and magnetic cards. So they're going to be running mechs and shit, but they're also going to have like death rattles. But not with Warrior. In Warrior's case, you're going to have just big ass minions that can't be targeted by spells. Oh, actually, no, it does get around that because it has that one card that can't be targeted by spells or hero powers. But this is a minions effect, which would kill that. So I can see this being ran kind of like Big Game Hunter. BGH was nuts in the past, but then they nerfed it up by upping it by 1 mana crystal, which I can see they already avoided that, because if this was like a 3 mana, absolutely nuts, included in every deck. If it was a 4 mana, it'd still be played because it's actually still pretty good. But 5 mana, I think people are honestly still might play it, especially right off the bat, because people are going to be trying out magnetic decks. I might actually run this in every deck I run, at least one. So 3 out of 5, and then as the meta defines, maybe 2 out of 5, but also maybe 4 out of 5. I don't know. It's hard to rate a card like that because I don't know how the meta is going to be. Moving on, 5 mana 5/5, decent stats. Seaphorium Bomber. Battlecry, shuffle a bomb into your opponent's deck. When drawn, it explodes for 5 damage. So this is kind of like the I forgot what it's called. It was some machine or whatever, but it was a legendary that actually shuffled 2 mines into your opponent's deck, and when drawn, they deal 10 damage. So this is just a worse version of that, but still pretty cool, I guess. So I'd say 3 out of 5. Moving on, 1 mana 1/3. Battlecry, deal 5 damage to your hero, gain 5 armor. This is actually really interesting because I thought about this in the past, especially when I started playing Hearthstone. I was like, wouldn't it be better to have armor than health? So like if I had a card that gave me armor, I wouldn't gain armor and then swing. I would swing and then gain armor, because then I could heal myself and then also, like that. But if I have play the armor and then swing, I'm going to just lose my armor, then I can't heal myself. So this is actually really interesting. And for a 1 mana, like if you get this turn 1 as like a priest, this is actually pretty nuts. So I'm going to rate this 4 out of 5. That's one of my favorite cards in this expansion. Holomancer, 5 mana 3/3. After your opponent plays a minion, summon a 1/1 copy of it. I don't see this as being very good at all, so I'm going to rate it 1 out of 5, because it's kind of like the Harbinger Celestia. You play this, people are going to know that you played it, and they're just going to remove it. They're not going to like play a Maligos, and then you're going to get a 1/1 with spell damage plus 5, you know what I mean? People are just going to remove it, so you're not going to play this card. 1 out of 5. Loose Specimen, 5 mana 6/6. Pretty nuts stats. Battlecry, deals 6 damage, randomly split among other friendly minions. Actually pretty shit. But if you play this just as like alone, it's gonna just be a 5 mana 6/6. So 2 out of 5. Moving on to the rare neutrals. Giggling Inventor. Battlecry, summon 2 1/2 mechs with taunt and divine shields. 5 mana 2/1. So you're getting a 2/1, and then it's going to summon 1/2 mechs with taunt and divine shield on either side. So you're just a 5 mana 2/1 that's summoning Annoyatrons. I don't know, I see this maybe being pretty good. 2 out of 5. Mechanical Whelp, 6 mana 2/2, pretty shit stats. Death Rattle, summon a 7/7 mechanical dragon. So this is like the Paladin egg that summoned a 8/8, except this is 1 more mana, but it's a 2/2 instead of a 0/5. So it's going to be easier to kill, and this also doesn't have magnetic. So I think Egg Paladin might actually be a thing. And you're also going to run this in the Hunter Magnetic, maybe? I don't know. 2 out of 5, maybe 3 out of 5. Missile Launcher, who knows, that could be really good though in the Egg Druid, in Egg Hunter. Maybe, I don't know. Moving on, the Missile Launcher, 6 mana 4/4 mech. Magnetic, this one has magnetic, so you can play this on another mech. At the end of your turn, deal 1 damage to all their characters. So I can see this being good with like the poisonous Hunter card, like I said. But other than that, this on its own isn't very good. You're just pinging everything. And the stats are pretty shit for 6 mana. 4 mana 3/1 mech, magnetic. Death Rattle, summon 3 1/1 microbots. So this is kind of like the one mech that in Paladin that's magnetic 1/3, and then there's the warrior one that's a 1/3, but that one doesn't have magnetic. So this is kind of like that one card. It was the Egg Hatcher. It was a 3 mana 3/1 Death Rattle, summon 3 1/1s, which wasn't very good, I guess. But this has magnetic, so I don't know. It's probably one of the worst magnetic cards, to be honest. So I'd say 1 out of 5. 6 mana 3/4 Arcane Dynamo. Not very good stats at all. Battlecry, discover a spell that costs 5 or more. So who knows? This is you might run this in like Mage and then try and get like a Pyroblast, but other than that, I don't see it being very good. 1 out of 5. Galvanizer, shout out Matt Dixon. 2 mana, 1/2. Battlecry, reduce the cost of mechs in your hand by 1. So you'd see you running this in a mech deck, maybe. Yeah, I can see this being run in a mech deck because on turn 2 or maybe turn 1, you just coin into this, and this is kind of like the back in GVG there was the mech portal, which that might have reduced by 2, but it was a card that it was active, so like while it was on the field, it reduced cards in your hand by, I can't remember if these are 1 or 2, but that was actually a staple for any mech deck. So who knows, this is a staple for any mech deck or not. 4 out of 5, but then again maybe a 2 out of 5. 6 mana 5/1, actually worst fucking statted minion I've ever seen in my life, ever. Jesus. Rush, Death Rattle, add 2/1 with Sparks with Rush to your hand. Really fucking bad card. 0 out of 5. Nobody's ever gonna play that ever. 2 mana 2/4. Unpowered Mauler. Can only attack if you cast a spell this turn. So this is like Ancient Watcher, but in some cases it can attack. Kind of like there's that one. I can't remember if it was a neutral or if it was a rogue card, but it was like a 3/4. And it could only attack if your hero attacked this turn. But this is a good arena card, I guess. And then you like play magnetic shit on that. So I don't know. Maybe it's good. Spark Engine, 2 mana, 2/1 mech. Battlecry, add a 1/1 spark with Rush to your hand. So I could see you like running maybe this and maybe that. I can't even believe I'm saying that. But running these spark shit in Shaman because it does like the 1/1 sparks with Rush. But I don't see that shit being very good, so I'm gonna rate this 2 out of 5. Moving on to the commons. Almost done, boys. 5 mana 5/5 magnetic mech. Not much to say about that. Just good if you want to run it in a mech deck with magnetic. There, go ahead. Upgradable frame bot. So please note that this is a 2 mana 1/5 that does not have magnetic. So you're gonna play like a war gear on top of a frame bot. Then you're going to have a 7 mana 6/10. I don't know. It's not much to say about it. I'm not going to rate those just because they're vanilla, so it's like whatever. Faithful Lumi. Battlecry, give a friendly mech +1/+1. You might run this in a magnetic deck. I don't know. Just get another. These are like all staples just to fill in gaps in your magnetic deck. Goblin Bomb, you're going to run this with the Hunter. 1 mana 0/2 mech, Death Rattle, deal damage to the enemy hero. Yeah, not much to say about that either. I mean, I already talked about it in the past. 3 mana 1/5 magnetic with Taunt. So Bronze Gatekeeper. So this one actually is pretty nuts. For 3 mana, you're giving one of your minions Taunt. One of your mechs Taunt. You're giving it +5 health. Holy shit. And then +1 attack, which is, you know, also significant. That is like a fucking 4 out of 5. That's actually nuts. Coppertail Imposter, 4 mana, 4/4 mech. I love the card art on that. It's super funny. Battlecry, gain stealth until your next turn. Huh. 3 out of 5? 2 out of 5. Yeah, 2 out of 5. 4 mana 3/2 mech. Battlecry, summon 2/0/2 Goblin Bombs. You might run this in that Hunter deck if there isn't any other 4 mana slots for it. But who knows, maybe. Moving on, Skaterbot, 1 mana 1/1 Magnetic Rush. You're definitely going to run this in like a mech deck. I could see it being you're going to run this in your Warrior for sure. But I don't know about the Hunter one. Maybe. Because you're essentially a 1 mana spell that gives something +1/+1 and Rush. So that's pretty nuts, actually. Brainstormer. Battlecry, gain +1 health for each spell in your hand. So this is like 1 less mana and 1 less attack. Dragon. Why can't I think of the name? You guys don't have to talk about the 4-mana 4/1 with the Battlecry gain 1 health for each card in your hand, but this one is a spell, so this is just worse. Bulldozer, it's kind of like this, the 9 mana. I think it was 9 mana. It was a 7/7 with Divine Shield. So this is literally just 2 more attack, and that one was like, alright, didn't really get played. But this is also a mech, so you might magnetize on top of this. So let's say you play this, and then you play Skaterbot. You're gonna get a 10 mana, 10/8 with Rush. That's actually pretty fucking nuts. But other than that, it's just, I don't know, it's vanilla stats, so it's whatever. Moving on, Cloak Scale Chemist. 2 mana 1/2 with Stealth and Divine Shield. Not much to say about that one either. Moving on, Damage Stegotron. 6 mana 5/12 Taunt. Battlecry, deal 6 damage to this minion. So there's been cards like this in the past. The one last expansion was the Bear. It was basically the same exact thing as this, but a beast. And there was the first one that was introduced was the Injured Valdir. It injured something that would dealt 4 damage to itself. It was like a 3 mana 4/2, but you could also heal it. So let's say you summon a randomly you summon this. It's a 6 mana 5/12 with Taunt. That's nuts. But on average, it's gonna be a 6 mana 5/6, and then you can heal it. So I don't know. You're gonna run this in the Priest, maybe, I guess. Electro Right. Battlecry. If you're holding a spell that costs 5 or more, gain +1/+1. So I guess you could run this with that other card. That was a Discover spell 5 or more. But 3 mana 3/3 is decent, and then if you're holding a spell that costs 5, it's a 3 mana 4/4. So maybe this is good. I don't know. Kaboom Bot. 3 mana 2/2 Death Rattle. Deal 4 damage to a random enemy minion. This is like that other one that was 3 mana 1/1 Death Rattle. Deal 3 damage to an enemy minion, random enemy minion, which was played, I guess, a little bit. But this is almost. No, this is definitely better. But it's a mech, so I don't know. Hard to rate, maybe like 105. Mecharoo, 1 mana 1/1 mech. Death Rattle, summon a 1/1 Joey bot. I can see this being played on turn 1 in quite a few decks. 3 mana 2/1 Battlecry, summon 2 1/1 Microbots, Microtech Controller. Not much to say about that one either. It's pretty bad. Piloted Reaper, so this is kind of like the Piloted Shredder in GVG. It's a 4 mana 4/3, just like the other one. It's a mech, just like the other one. Death Rattle, summon a random minion from your hand that costs 2 or less. So this is just a worse Piloted Shredder, because Piloted Shredder summoned a random 2-cost minion, and this one summons a random minion, but it's from your hand, and it costs 2 or less. So it could be like a 1 mana, but I don't know, maybe you play this, so 3 out of 5. 5 mana 2/6 Taunt Lifesteal mech. Just another one that you can use Magnetic on, but has Taunt and Lifesteal, so it's decent. But on its own, it's not very good. So, yeah. 3 mana 2/1 mech. Battlecry, deal 2 damage. Spring Rocket. For 3 mana, it's not very good. If it was a 2 mana, this would be above average, but for 3 mana, below average. Another Rager, really. 4 mana 5/1 with Rush. I don't know. It's just like this gay ass guy up here. Not very good. Moving on. Toxologist. 2 mana 2/2 Battlecry. Give your weapon +1 attack. You could run this in like a rogue with kind of like the poison, with the spell that gives your thing +2 attack. You could run this in something like that. And this would be a good body for on turn 2. Yeah. Whirl Glider, a 2 mana 2/1 Battlecry, summon a 0/2 Goblin Bomb. I don't know, just another vanilla thing that you might run in a Hunter. I don't know, whatever. But, yep, that's it. I don't know if that's under 2 hours, but there you go. There's my Boomsday set review, guys. I hope you liked it. If you made it through it, congratulations. Applaud to you. I just like doing set reviews just because I like Hearthstone and I'm really passionate about the game. Super excited coming up in the next expansion. If I was going to come up with if you're running decks with just this expansion and they fought against each other, I'd probably say Hunter would be the best, to be honest. It's either that or Warrior. I think those two are going to be top tier decks. Warrior's definitely going to be top tier, but I hope Hunter is like tier 1, tier 2. But that's it. I hope you guys liked it. See you next time.